Hi, it's nice to see you again. Today's Pokemon Day. We're gonna do something a little exciting. We're gonna push the envelope. I know you just got Cursor installed if you're following my video tutorials, and this is the second video, and it's gonna be intense. You're gonna feel like you're doing way too much and that you're just not ready for this. But that's kind of the point. I want to show you how much you can get done if you're not ready for it. Now, a lot of the topics we cover in this video, I'm gonna cover very quickly, and we will spend more time covering them in other videos. So I just want you to kind of sit back and try to attempt what I'm doing the best you can, and just see how far you can get fumbling around. The end result likely won't be what I have, and that's okay. I have found that with all of the experience and time and energy I've put into this, that it takes time. It's like working out. You know, if you want to be able to deadlift 1,000 pounds, you got to work up to that. You're just not going to go do that tomorrow. Unless you're the Hulk, that'd be cool. But none of us are the Hulk. So, except Bruce Banner, he's the Hulk. But anywho, that's beside the point. This is a thing that takes time. It's a skill, just like all their skills. It's something you got to work at. The skill that I would argue that this has been closest to for me in my education career is Googling, being able to search the internet for solutions and answers to the problems. So it's really about describing the problem the best you can so that the computer can guide you to an answer. And AI is a lot better at guiding you to those answers than just keyword optimizations and landing on a website because they ranked high on matching for the words that you had in your search result. It kind of takes it to a whole nother level. So we're going to be building something using Cursor that's related to Pokemon. And I'm going to kind of walk you through my process. My goal is that we can get something built and running that's kind of impressive. That, you know, if you have a kid or a small human in your life that likes Pokemon, they could be a large human too. You know, they could be taller than me. The goal is that we find someone to show this to, that and they'd be like, oh, that's impressive. Now, we may not actually show it to anyone. This might just be for our own enjoyment. But the goal is that, like, by the time you're done, you have something that kind of you're like, whoa, that was impressive. Now, we don't have a lot of time. So we might not get to something amazing. It's possible. So we're going to try and keep it simple. We're going to try and move quickly, and we'll just see where we land. I am trying to time box myself to somewhere around 15 minutes, but if we're having fun, I might keep going just a little bit longer. So we'll see. So first thing we're going to do is open up Chrome. And knowing that we're going to be building a project, I'm going to go to Excalidraw to kind of build out what I want to do. So Excalidraw is a very quick tool that exists it's like drawing on a napkin your ideas of what you want to have. So we're going to just make something not too dissimilar from a Pokédex. So I've selected a box here, and I'm just going to draw a picture here. And oh, my border is red. Let's change that to black. And it's okay. I see. We're really zoomed out, and so everything looks teeny when it's actually super big. So we're gonna zoom in a lot here. Okay. Zoom in. Oh, there we go. That feels better. I like big lines that I can see. All right, so this box that I've made is going to be our browser. It's roughly a 16:9 ratio. Essentially, it's wider than it's taller. I'm going to be making this to be on a browser, not on a phone. I don't really care about all those things at the moment. We're just kind of speed running this thing. So I've got this. I've got essentially what I'm going to do is create two boxes here. One is going to go over here. And then one is going to go over here. Okay. This is the general layout of the app. What I'm going to do is do something like, oh gosh, I want this. Like this. and maybe another square here. And we can do like some text here and say Pokemon. Oh gosh, it'd be nice if I could spell Pokemon name. Oh gosh, can I get the text? The text, dang it. The text ended up being a part of my thing. I just want Pokemon name. There we go. Now it's its own little thing here. Gosh, we're going to probably speed this up a little bit in the video. It won't take our overall time shorter, but like whatever. Pokemon name. Can I also like, and let's just do like number 0001. And we'll put that there. And then I'm just gonna like come in here with the pencil and draw a little Pokemon. Oh gosh, that is really bad. Can we make it thinner? Be like, Pokemon. Look, here's my little Pokemon. Boop, boop. Okay, so then I'm gonna just take my selector tool real quick here and select all of this. I'm gonna hit Command or Control G, which will make it one element. So I can kind of center it a little bit. Take this one, hit Command G again, make that an element. And then I can hit Command C or Control C for copy, and then Command or Control V for paste. And we're just gonna drop a few in here. I just wanted to see like, this is what we're doing here. Okay, so here's the whole list of Pokemon. And we're gonna actually shrink this guy down a little bit, maybe. There we go. And then I'm gonna hold Shift and select all of these. And click this one too. And then I can hit that Command or Control G again and make it a group. And now I can kind of move them all together. And we're gonna move this one down a little bit. Actually, yeah, that's fine. Then make another here, and we'll just do search for Pokemon. All right, and then the last thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna click all the way in here to our image. Maybe. There we go. Oh no. Let's see if we can get the image. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna just make a new Pokemon image. That's fine. All right, we're gonna blow this image up. And we're gonna draw another Pokemon here. This is a different Pokemon, clearly. It's got angry eyes. And a nose. And a cat mouth. I don't know what it is, but there we go. Okay, and then watch this. I'm gonna just like use this draw tool to be like words. Words. Now I'm like just drawing instead of like using all the cool stuff. We'll see. Stats. Draw another box in here. Oh gosh, we went out of the thing. Just trying to move quicker. And we'll say info. All right, so this is my Pokemon app that we're going to build. All right, so I am going to be coming back here and grabbing this as a snapshot to give to Cursor and using it. But let's move on to Cursor now. So I've got Cursor. I'm opening up, and it says Open Project, and so essentially it wants to open a folder. So I'm just gonna come into my projects folder here, and I'm gonna click new folder here and create a new folder and call it Pokédex, because that's what I'm going to create. And we're here and I'm going to open it. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is open up my chat. And we're going to make sure that the agent is on. We've got 3.7 that we're leveraging. And now the next thing you're going to notice is I'm using a dictation tool to type out everything because I hate typing. It's one of my least favorite things to do as part of my job. So why not find a different way to not type? For a lot of reasons, I hate typing. We won't get into it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my dictation tool to just start speaking to it. And as I'm speaking, you're going to hear a lot of the things that I like to tell it to do to help us organize work. You can type this all out. You can find some type of dictation tool if you want. If you're on Mac, I'm using a free tool. It has a limited use, but it's free, called Super Whisper. There are many out there. You can even use like the built-in dictation tools for your operating systems. But so here we go. I'm just going to start explaining to it what we're doing and what the goal is. And you're going to notice that I tell it to put stuff in a markdown file so that we can reference it and keep track of it. And I'm not going to have it actually build anything. I'm going to explain to it that we're just in a planning phase and just trying to explain what we're building and get it all prepped. And you can be more or less verbose in this planning phase. The idea is you're trying to give it enough information to be able to build something that's helpful. Because of my background and because of some of the experiences I've had, I'm going to be using some technical terms to help out in this process. So one thing I'm going to tell it is we're going to build a React app. React app is a framework created by Meta company and maintained by them. The reason I'm choosing it is because it is the most documented framework for building websites on the internet. So there's kind of a benefit to that, and that's because the LLMs have been trained on all of the copy, all of the words on the internet. And so if you use things that they're familiar with, you're more likely to succeed, because at the end of the day, everything you're about to see is being built by statistic probability, which is mind-boggling when you think about it. So we're going to jump into here and see where we land. All right, we're going to be building an app for Pokemon Day. The app is going to be kind of like a Pokédex where you can search for Pokemon and explore them. So on the left-hand side, you'll have the ability to search. On the right-hand side, you will be able to, on the left-hand side, you can search and click a tile of a Pokemon. And then on the right-hand side, it'll open up a window that'll show more details of a Pokemon. So that's in a nutshell what we're going to be doing. I'd like to build out a README first before we do anything that's kind of detailing what we're going to be building. I want that README to be a markdown file that allows us to have checkboxes to kind of check off our progress. We're going to be using React to build this. And so I want you to put together a project plan to build this all out, and we'll see where we can get from there. Probably the biggest problem we're going to run into is data, and I don't know anywhere where I can get data for Pokemon. Like I don't know. So you're going to have to do some research to see if there's some type of API out there, some way to access data for Pokemon so we can build this app, because I don't know what's available to us. Outside of that, I think that's the initial plan. So let's just put together a README. Don't do any other work at the moment, and let's see what we can get to. All right, so I'm going to tell it to submit and get going. And so it's going to begin the work. Now, some things to note. I told it, I use the word API or data. That's something that's a benefit to me as a programmer that I understand and that it might know. I know there's a Pokemon API out there, but I'm pretending that I don't know and asking it to do the research to find some. Now, it is provided a layout here as part of this. And as the first step, it said, hey, let's create a project README, and oh, that's done. And so now it has a whole bunch of steps that it wants to do. And basically what I'm going to be doing from now until the end of this video is just telling it to work through this project and to get things going. I'm going to, as a developer, I know a lot of things, and I'm going to be extremely unopinionated in this because the more opinion I have and force onto it, the harder it's going to be because now it has to read my mind when it wasn't trained on my mind. It was trained on what's on the internet. So there are pros and cons to that. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to tell it to let's keep going. So last thing I'm going to do though is I am going to come back to this app here, and I'm going to just take a quick screenshot here. And I'm going to come back to cursor, and I'm going to drag this screenshot in here. And I'm going to just say a little bit more. This looks really good as a plan. Before we get too far along, I am providing a screenshot kind of what in my brain, what this app looks like. Can you add this image to the project so that we have it as a resource for you to reference, and make sure to recommend to like add that to the documentation as well? All right, so as part of my workflow here, I'm going to accept the changes here so we can see any changes that it does as a diff, as a what's different between the two. And so we're going to hit submit here. I've given it the image, and we'll see what it can do with the image that I gave it. So it's making a directory. Right now it's asking me if it has permission to do this. You can turn on YOLO mode and just let it do these things without asking permission, which I have done. And it is definitely a YOLO moment. Sometimes it does things you're like, oh my gosh. One thing that's nice about the YOLO mode is it will not delete, but we're just going to accept these changes and let it keep going. It created an assets folder and an images folder. And now it's said like, hey, here's where the mock-up design is. And so it added that as a reference. And now it's trying to curl. That's cool. So we'll accept. I have no idea what that's even doing, but we'll find out if it was good or not. It says it was done, and it looks like it had issues downloading the image, so it's going to just try again and see what's there. It says that it sees the directory structure, so it's going to try a different way. Now let's update. So it's doing even more. So here's what's really cool. So it took the image and it said the search bar at the top, the scroll bar with the small Pokemon thumbnail image, name, and the Pokemon ID. The large pane on the left has, now remember I typed and hand scribbled this stuff, and it says stats and info, visual elements. So like it's building a story from a picture, which is pretty impressive. And some of it was chicken scratch, which was, was kind of cool. So it did update that. Now, as far as the image ending up in here, there were some errors and it wasn't able to get the image. So it left a README here to say, hey, can you get this image in here? And so I am going to do that for it real quick because, it's not perfect and that's okay. So we'll get that. I'm going to move this out of the way. That's really annoying. Dang it. I lost my image. So we'll do it again. Go back to cursor and drag the image into this folder. There we go. So now it's there. So I'm going to tell it now, hey, we got the image added. Everything looks really good. Let's get this project started. And so it is now going to get started. In the interest of me trusting it, it's gonna run into an issue here because it can't proceed. So I canceled the operation. We'll see if it can figure out how to do it with a yes mode. So it just runs through it. Seems to have figured it out, maybe. I'm not exactly sure what it's doing now. This is the fun part. So now it's installing, and one thing I'm going to do while it's doing all of this is I'm going to open up the cursor tools and go to the cursor settings. And in here, we will find in the features, we will find YOLO mode. I think we should. It was right around here somewhere. My screen is so far away from me, and I cannot see anything. No, that doesn't work. Cool. Let's come back to settings, and we'll search YOLO. Nothing. Great. It's because it's over here, and I'm struggling to see chat and composer. Enable YOLO mode. There it is. Yep. Cool. Accept. And we'll see if it still needs me to click buttons. I'm going to prevent it from deleting automatically. So it'll have to ask me for the ability to delete. And now you can see I'm not having to click the button over here, which is great for it to run things. And at some point it will consider that it has gotten some stuff done, and we will move on from there and run it and see what it's got going. Now again, this app that we're building is pretty simple. It's not too crazy. It's now creating content for global state management. Like, okay. It seems to have chosen TypeScript as a framework along with React, which is a great choice. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I might condense this video a little bit and just let this do its thing, and we can review it when it's done. But really, at this point, I'm just going to be clicking the next button and testing it and seeing what it looks like. I'm going to be, accepting its changes occasionally over here. Another thing that I'll just mention is it is good to learn how Git works. So most of the time you're going to see your file tree over here, and these are the files that it's making and working with or has access to. And if you click on any of these, you can see what the image, what it made. And I mean, it's made a ton of files, which is phenomenal. But it is valuable to learn how Git works at a high level. Git is like a way to save versions and progress and be able to go backwards and forwards in time, if you will, of I don't like where we've ended up. I want to go back to a previous state. And since you're letting this just do stuff, it might go a completely wrong direction at some point. And so setting up some way to control and have access to Git and learn how Git works, I'd recommend it. We're not going to cover it now because this is just like a fun one shot where we're just trying to basically, in as few communications as possible, let this thing go and just build something for us. So it is using styled components for styling, which is the reason it chose that is it's the thing that has been around the longest for styling and has the most documentation out there, aside from just straight CSS, when it comes to working with React. So again, every choice it's making is just a statistical probability of what it has and where it's going. So at this point, I'm just going to let it go, and we'll kind of see where we land. We're, I don't know, roughly like 20 minutes into this video. And I have no idea what we have yet. So it built an image with an SVG, so that's cool. Like, I'm just watching the output while it's going. It's just kind of interesting. Okay, so now it's updating the README with the completed steps. Like what has been done. Now it's doing npm run dev, and it's telling me that we can go to the website and see what it looks like. So it's got a little URL over here. If I hit command or control and click that URL, it'll open it up. And here is our little app right here. So select a Pokemon. I can select Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, Venusaur. There's a new Pokemon that, let's see. Wow, that's interesting that, do? Oh, looks like we might not have the like super new Pokemon. Um, what about Mew? We don't have Mew. That's interesting. How far? Oh, I have to load more. Okay, so we have like infinite scroll. Search capabilities are only based on what's here. So I just scrolled down to Arcanine. Oh, I put a CH. Arcanine. There we go. Cool. So as you can see, like, I mean, that didn't take very long. Look how far we got. Like now I can start iterating and giving feedback and saying, hey, this isn't quite working right. Can we adjust it? Can we change it? I'm not going to do that in today's video. But that is a topic that I am going to cover in detail in the future of like, well, what if it didn't do exactly what you're looking for? How do you tweak it? How do you help it? How do you guide it? I'll tell you, it's really not more complicated than taking screenshots, giving it screenshots, explaining to it what you would like to have happen, but always putting always put stuff in a markdown file so that you have some references to what you're doing so that you can keep going. Because at some point that chat will die and you'll have to start a new chat. And so if you have that markdown file to say, hey, look at this markdown file. Don't change anything in our app yet. But just review it and let me know what you think and what we should do next. Also, another hack is to ask it, hey, give me 3 options on how to handle this, right? It is limiting how many Pokemon it's getting. Well, how do I make it so that when I search, it goes and hits some type of like search endpoint to get more info, right? Like how many Pokemon are there? Could we download all of the information from the Pokemon API and put it locally into the code? I don't know, but you probably could. Again, in closing, if you don't like Pokemon, you can do the same thing with Star Wars or Star Trek. There's APIs for those. There's APIs for a lot of things. You could say, hey, let's build a weather app. There are APIs for weather information. Everything that you're seeing right here that we just kind of blitzed through in 20 minutes. When I taught a class at the university, this was the first third of the class, and that took 1 month to 2 months to get people to the state of building something. So just think about how much this is going to change everything. Now you might be saying, hey, I'm not a developer for my job. How does this help me? We're going to be covering that in subsequent videos of how you can build tools via this to help you along in your day. Like, does your job require you to make presentations on a regular basis? Well, guess what? You can use this same type of tooling to build a presentation tool. And then every time you need to build a presentation tool, you're just talking at it, updating the markdown and telling it to update the presentation, and boom, you're done. So anyway, that's it for now. Have fun, buckle up and enjoy this ride. We'll see you later.